Ever heard of guardian spirits? These are spirits that are said to be protective of you. Many people consider them as deities, but many times that's not the case. They were human once too. And after they let go of their material bodies, some tend to stay here, watch over their descendants. Ancestral spirits are what they're called. Sometimes you don't even have to be from their lineage. It could be that you just belong to their village or tribe. But other than that, there are some malevolent spirits that lurk in the darker corners of the world. And there is one in 100 times. That entity was never human. Hi, I'm Vivek and you're watching Red Whisper, where you will hear stories of entities and paranormal phenomena that people have experienced in their lives. I bring you these stories so that you can understand our world better and the world beyond ours as well. These are real stories, yes, but the names of the characters are changed for privacy's sake. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the people who have subscribed to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I would ask you to please consider subscribing. It takes a lot of effort to bring you stories like these, real encounters. Traveling, meeting people who have similar stories to share is a tiresome job. So your one like and one sub would mean that my efforts were recognized, and it'll just make me happy. Be a friend. Please subscribe. And also, if you like my content and want to support real creators like me, consider joining my Patreon. YouTube is full of AI slop stories, but support on Patreon would help creators like us stay alive. With this message, and without further ado, let's begin, shall we? Today's story is about Naman. Naman is a 25-year-old IT guy working in a large MNC. I won't be disclosing the name, but it's pretty well known. He lives in Dehradun but was originally from a small rural area in the mountains. When he was 10, his immediate family moved to Dehradun, the capital city of Uttarakhand, a province in India. It was vague, but he still had memories of the village. Mountainside views, waterfalls, pine tree forest. It was as scenic as it could be. He said he often remembered playing near a waterfall, which was lined with huge rocks. So as you can imagine, it's a pretty peaceful and lovely village. In the center of the village, there was a well. The well was built upon a natural spring, so the water was more fresher and more cleaner there. It was a community well, so naturally around it everything happened because of the constant traffic. From vegetable stalls to hangout tea spots, everything happened there. If you wanted to find someone, you went to the main well first. The well was also shaded by an old tree. According to the lore, this tree was planted half a century ago by first settlers of the village. It was ancient, but it provided shelter from the elements. People who got water from the well rested below that tree. It was what a community well was supposed to be like. Noisy, crowded, alive. But there was another well in that village, and it was nothing like this one. That well was at the far side of the village, where the last rows of houses ended. From there, the path merged into a grove of trees and bushes. At the end of the grove was that well. You didn't accidentally pass it on the way. You had to go that way on purpose just to catch a glimpse of it, or if you frequented that way to get to the other side of the village. As far as Naman and the other children were concerned, that was simply a place they were not allowed to go to. And if you've been around children, they're like donkeys, curious about things that they're not supposed to do. The adults never gave explanations. They just said things like, "Don't go that side after sunset. If you're playing, stay near the main lane." If anyone questioned why, they would say, "Because I said so," in a tone that meant the conversation was over. And that was like adding gasoline to the already raging fire called a child's curiosity. But even though he wasn't allowed to go there, Naman noticed things. He noticed that almost nobody went to that area during the daytime. He didn't know about the nighttime, but during the daytime there was nobody there. If people went there, they usually went before dawn or right after dusk. The well sat in a grove surrounded by trees, and one lane leading to it. That well also had a pavement. Naman noticed that the pavement was always littered with leaf plates, the kind that you use as an offering for deities. On it, there would be food, either savory or sweet, and meat. Naman found it strange. Normally people don't use meat in prayers. Besides the food, there was always a small oil lamp. Its flame seemed to flicker in the wind. And also on that plate was a piece of red cloth, either folded or draped over it, and it was always red in color. Sometimes he would get a glimpse of mirrors and red bangles. No one really said what the plate was for. No one really said which deity it belonged to. He only knew that whenever someone arranged that plate, they did it quickly, and they never stayed near that well for long. They would set the plate right on the pavement, bow and leave. As a child, Naman was curious, of course, but the rules around that place felt different, heavier. As children, even if they didn't drift towards the area, they usually stopped themselves from going near the vicinity of the well. So most of what he knew either came from short glimpses or what he had heard from other children. For Naman, the finality was that children weren't allowed there. And besides, the well looked too scary for him to go there either. Naman never meant to go towards that well. He was 10. Kids don't plan trouble though. They drift into it. One day it was sunny outside. You rarely get a warm, sunny afternoon in the mountains, and the kids loved it. They decided it was a great day to kick some rubber. The fields were at the western end of the village. Now, just to clarify, this village sat in a valley, but it held enough space for people to grow food, so they had this patch of land between the village and the forest, the mountain forest. These fields were at a higher elevation than the village. During off-season, it was used as a playground. So Naman and his friends, seeing that the weather was so nice, decided that they would go outside and play some ball. And they did. And as balls always do, it didn't stay where it started. Someone kicked it too hard. It flew towards the village and disappeared down the narrow lane. That lane, the one that leads to the well. The boys stopped. No one chased the ball. They all just looked at each other, and that same thought was going through their heads. Oh no. They hoped and prayed that the ball would stop, but the ball didn't stop. It rolled and rolled until it disappeared in the grove. The other boys backed away. "Leave it, we'll get it later," one said, knowing full well they wouldn't. But Naman didn't feel like turning back. He just didn't like the idea that there was something that he could not access in his own home. What's the worst that could happen? Whatever, today I'm gonna find out what these people are hiding from us anyways. He took one step forward. The others whispered urgently, "Naman, don't." But he took another step anyway. Not because he wanted to, but because it suddenly felt like moving away was a harder thing to do. By the time he reached the stone wall, the air felt different. Still. That was strange. It was fairly windy a few moments ago. It was as if even the wind didn't want to go near that well. The ball was lying right there, just before the well, next to the offerings. Naman also told me that when I first saw those offerings near the well, something like fear built up inside my chest. One thought came to my head, I shouldn't be here. But the very next moment, he banished that thought. and went on anyways. Well, I'm here already. Better just take the ball and leave. From up close, the red clothes looked unusually bright, as if it was brand new, and the lamp flame flickered, even though the air around it was unmoving. If Naman had taken a second to think about it, he wouldn't have dared to go near that well. But he didn't. He was a child. Naman went to pick up the ball, and his foot accidentally brushed against one of the plates. The meat was spilled, but Naman didn't notice. He bent down to pick the ball up, and that's when he heard it. A soft drip. A single drop of water falling deep inside the well. Then another. Then another. Slow, steady, rhythmic, as if it had been waiting for him to get close. He told me that when he heard that drip, he froze. That well was never used, so where was that dripping sound coming from? More than that, wells don't drip. Naman couldn't understand, but he felt something about that dripping sound. It just sounded too intentional, like someone was letting the water fall drop by drop, knowing he was listening, like something was telling him they exist, and they were there. He leaned slightly over the rim, curious, not enough to see inside, but just enough to hear better. As soon as he did, the dripping stopped. Dead silent. No more dripping sounds. Naman felt something like a tiny pulse of pressure in his right ear. That's exactly how he worded it. A tiny pulse of pressure in his right ear. Not painful, just strange. Like someone had whispered something in his ear, but without making a sound. Like the air had moved, but only inside his ear. Then his eyes glazed over for a bit. He started leaning over the wall dangerously, but before anything could happen, he felt a strong gust of wind on his face. That kicked his senses enough to pull back. He fell on the pavement of the well. He picked himself up in a panic and straightened up quickly, clutching the ball to his chest. Then he felt a faint buzzing itch behind his right ear. He scratched it, thinking it was because of the fall. Maybe something had gotten on his ear. Right after that, he heard his friends shout from a distance. Naman turned, and suddenly it felt like a spell had broken, and he realized what he was just about to do. A little spooked, he ran towards the main road, towards his friends. A few meters away, he stopped, for God knows why. He turned around to have another look at the well. Naman told me that he didn't know why he turned. He said it felt like something told him to turn. He looked at the well, and at the time it looked so ordinary, like it was just another well. Before that little visit for the ball, Naman was deathly afraid of this well. To him, this well looked too scary, but right now he couldn't bring himself to feel an ounce of fear. He turned around to leave, and right behind him was an old man standing. He had barely turned around for a second. Where did this old man come from? It was so shocking that he gasped. The old man looked at him with furrowed brows. Nay, he stared at him. "Kid, why were you here? Don't you know you're not supposed to go there?" The old man spoke. Naman noticed that his voice had a bizarre tone to it, like it was hollow somehow. "The ball," Naman answered. "Come here, kid." Naman flinched. The old man put a palm on his head and spoke something under his breath. "Go now, and don't come near this area ever again." Naman took another look at the man's face, and bolted. As soon as he was out of the grove, everything felt normal. He jogged back towards the other kids, trying to act like nothing had happened, but as they ran home later, one of them said, "Your ear is red." Naman touched it. It was warm. The left ear was completely fine. It was only his right ear that was red, the one that he was using to listen inside that well. By evening, the redness had faded. The itch had stopped. Everything went back to normal. Except, a week later, something changed. He began complaining about something buzzing behind his right ear. Not pain, just a faint, soft vibration. Imagine someone is sitting in the next room, but somehow your ears vibrated because of what they were saying. It always happened at the same time, near dusk, right after sunset. He told his mother about it, and when she asked what the sound was, he tried to explain but couldn't. His parents exchanged a look. "Did you go near that well again?" his mother asked. The look she gave him promised some not-so-gentle parenting, so sensibly he denied. His mom looked at him deeply. The poor boy had started to falter a bit, but before he could speak up, she said in a firm voice, "Don't go near that area again." Naman nodded. He hadn't gone anywhere near it since the day he retrieved the ball, and he intended to never repeat it again. But the sound kept happening, always behind the right ear, always at dusk. Everything was fine until the calling started. It was just one word. His name, soft, like someone was whispering his name. He heard it twice in the same week. Both times in the dead of the night. It was wet, almost gurgling as if someone held a mouthful of water and spoke. Both times his parents were sleeping, but he lied awake. And both times he reacted the same way. He tucked his head into the blankets, shutting his eyes hard and wishing it to go away. No one else heard it, only he did. Just him, always from the right side, always carrying that faint dripping sound beneath it. It happened week after week. Finally, on the third week, Naman broke. He confessed everything. When he told his mother, she didn't scold him, she didn't accuse him of making things up. She went quiet. Then she knelt before him, held his face and asked, "Which side did you hear it from?" Naman pointed to his right ear, and her face changed. Not fear, exactly, but dread, an existential one. Then the fever began. The next night, Naman woke up crying, holding his right ear, shaking from chills. It woke up his parents. Through the fever, he kept whispering, "It's going to take me away. Don't let it. Don't let it." Not understanding what was going on, his parents called the village doctor. He checked Naman. No obvious sign of disease or infection, but the fever just stayed. The doctor prescribed medicine but also said something else. "If you can take him away for a few days, take him. These hills have old things and sometimes children feel them too strongly. I think you should take him to Gorakhpura. Maybe he can help you. Some diseases have more obscure roots, one that cannot be treated by medicine." The doctor didn't elaborate. He didn't need to. His family knew what he meant. The well. No, it's what lies in that well. But then again, it's not easy to just up and leave the home. They decided to stay and make preparations. But they never knew how short of a time they had left. The next night, something changed. Naman was awake again. His mother rushed to him, but this time he wasn't crying. He was smiling. Smiling in a sleepy, unsettling way. eyes half closed, and he whispered,
I'm coming. Wait for me. Wait for me.
He kept repeating it over and over again. With the village doctor's advice, they had one option left. They picked up Naman and took him to Gorakhvira. Gorakhvira was a tantric. I know that in the western side of the world, the word tantra and tantric has been synonymous with sexual practices, but that could not be any further from the truth. Tantra literally means techniques, occult techniques. Tantra is a tool. Now, how people use it is up to them. Some use it for doing good. Some use it for doing good to other people. Some use them for their own personal gains. And some use it to do bad things to other people. Then, there are people like Gorakhvira who take it as a way to enlightenment. And during this journey towards enlightenment, he chose solitude and charity. Gorakhvira was an accomplished tantric. In English, that would roughly mean a warlock. Someone who is an expert in magic and occult. You know, people like him are in high demand. The public want people like Gorakhvira so they can use him to get their wishes fulfilled, whether they want to get rich or destroy an enemy. The public wants to use him in many ways, and those people would have paid him good money for that. But Gorakhvira refused. He didn't want to tangle himself in the karma of other people. He chose Naman's village to settle down, where he can help people and continue his practice. His parents carried Naman to Gorakhvira. Naman was still asleep, still murmuring. It was 1 a.m. in the night. When they reached his hut, they found him sitting right outside. As soon as he spotted the family, he said,
Your kid is troublesome. He shouldn't have gone to that place.
You knew we were coming? Naman's dad asked.
Don't concern yourself with that. Why did you wait so long before coming here?
The tantric brushed his question off, but one thing was clear. He knew they were coming, long before even they knew themselves.
Mistakes were made,
Naman's dad replied.
Children make mistakes. Forgive me.
Truth to be told, before people like Gorakhvira, we are like children. They are much learned and much more closer to divinity than we imagine. But us folks are more muddled with worldly routines and often tend to forget the divine. Gorakhvira stood up, came closer.
Some mistakes have a cost. They can't be corrected easy.
He put a palm on Naman's head.
How old is he?
10, his dad replied. Naman was still smiling, eyes closed, still whispering,
I'm coming. Wait for me. Wait for me.
Gorakhvira rubbed Naman's head before he whispered something inaudible to everyone. Then he blew his mouth 3 times, quick and sharp.
You're not going anywhere, kid. Rest easy.
As soon as he said those words, Naman fell into a much more deeper, quieter sleep. The whisperings stopped. His mom, who was watching by the side, put her hand to her mouth, stifling the urge to cry out. This was the first time she was seeing something like this happen, and it was happening to her child nonetheless. Shocked would be an understatement. Gorakhvira then turned around, moving towards his hut.
Wait here.
He went inside. Naman's mom took him from his dad and hugged him close, maternal instincts flooding her with relief, so much so that she teared up. There was a movement by the hut, so they took a glance. The hut was a few meters away. How long does it take to walk a few meters? A few seconds. By the time Gorakhvira reached them, Naman's fever had disappeared. He approached them and said,
Show me his right hand.
They did, and he tied a black string around his wrist. The string was knotted more than 100 times, it seemed. Gorakhvira didn't even turn to see their questioning faces, and he said,
This is Bhairava's thread. It's been strengthened by his mantra. This will keep the things away as long as it's on his wrist. Do not take it off.
He then turned around.
You will have to leave this place. Staying here is not safe for you all, much less your child. Now go. By next morning, you should be gone.
Gorakvira disappeared behind the door. The couple then bowed towards him deeply, spoke a word of thanks, and left. They packed that night. When I asked Naman how he knew what happened, he said he didn't remember anything. All this was told to him by his parents years later, much later than they should have. Next day they packed and left for Dehradun, and Naman's symptoms vanished the moment they crossed the village limits, almost as if whatever had noticed him could only do so in that village. For now, Naman was safe. That ear, the one that had been near the well's rim, was the one he'd sometimes feel a phantom touch when he was alone. But that was much, much later. For now, that well was just a scary childhood memory. Naman didn't think about that well for years. Life in Dehradun swallowed him whole. School, college, friends, his first job in the MNC. If anything from that time lingered, it was only a strange feeling in his right ear when he was extremely tired or when he was alone. Nothing alarming. They still kept contact with the village though, especially since his extended family lived there. His mom and dad kept visiting that place and everything was fine. Yeah, Naman didn't return to that village. His mom and dad though frequented that village often. Everything was fine. That is, until the day his grandfather passed away. What was in that well? Why did no one use it, or why no one destroyed it, even though they knew it was cursed? Did Gorakvira had anything to do with it? And who was that old man Naman met near the well? All these questions will be answered. Forget it. I'll just tell you this. That old man had been dead for the last 15 years. And again, thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like, as your one like motivates me to bring stories like these to you, and it takes a lot of effort to bring these stories, so your like means you recognize my efforts. And if you want more videos like these, please consider subscribing. It would mean much to me. Till the next video, please stay tuned. Keep your friends and family close. Stay away from places you're supposed to stay away from. I'm Vivek and you're watching Dread Whisper. Till the next time.